You have been looking at your reflection and quietly thinking, is this really all there is now? That feeling is not age. It is not gravity. And it is certainly not the end of your most beautiful years. It is the slow, invisible truth that most stylists never tell you. The wrong haircut is doing more damage than any wrinkle ever could. I research worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we are perfecting 5 haircuts that make older women look instantly younger after 50. And by part 3, you will want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We are covering 5 transformative cuts, from the face-framing layered bob to the crown-lifting textured pixie that changes everything. And the very first cut? It works on almost every face shape over 50. Let's go. 1. The soft layered bob. Have you ever looked at a photo of yourself from 10 years ago and thought your hair looked somehow lighter, somehow more you, and wondered exactly where that went? Here is the truth nobody says out loud. It did not go anywhere. You just stopped cutting for your face shape and started cutting for what feels safe. That is the real problem. Safe hair is aging hair. And today that changes. The soft layered bob is the single most transformative cut for women over 50, and the reason is pure anatomy. After 50, the face softens. The jawline shifts slightly. The cheeks lose a fraction of their natural lift. A blunt, heavy bob with a single weight line at the jaw pulls the eye downward and adds visual heaviness exactly where you do not want it. That weight line lands right at the fullest part of the jaw and frames it as the dominant feature of your face. That is what ages you, not your bone structure. Your bone structure is still stunning. It is the weight of the cut. The soft layered bob removes that single heavy weight line and replaces it with interior layering. Texture cut into the mid-lengths and ends, not the crown. This is not the same as a choppy shag or a feathered retro cut. Interior layering keeps the outer shape clean and elegant while lifting the visual movement of the hair off the jaw and toward the cheekbones. That upward movement is what refreshes the face. Ask your stylist for interior layering with point cut ends. Those 2 phrases will get you the right result. Honestly, this is the one cut I wish someone had told me about years earlier, because the difference it makes on a mature face is genuinely remarkable. If you are wearing a blunt bob right now, swap it for a soft layered bob with interior graduation. If you have layers but they feel stiff or collapsed, ask for point cut ends and a small amount of crown graduation to re-establish lift. Your maintenance tip. Trim every 8 weeks, not 12. Interior layers lose their movement as they grow out, and a quick 8-week trim keeps the softness working for you instead of against you. The lift this cut creates around your cheekbones does something to your eyes that no makeup can replicate, and part 2 is going to show you the cut that does the same thing for your crown volume. 2. The crown lifting textured pixie. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about the top of your head? Not the front, not the sides, but the actual crown. Most women over 50 are losing volume quietly at the crown and compensating in ways that actually make the problem more visible. More product. More teasing. More hairspray. None of it works long-term because it is treating the symptom and ignoring the cut. This is everything. The crown is everything. The textured pixie with crown graduation is one of the most technically specific cuts on this list, and it is one of the least requested because women over 50 have been told pixie cuts are too harsh, too boyish, or too drastic. That advice is outdated and frankly lazy. A flat pixie, yes, that can read harsh. But a pixie built with crown graduation, where the hair at the top of the head is cut longer and textured upward, creates natural vertical lift that adds perceived height, opens the eye area, and softens the forehead simultaneously. There is one technique your stylist needs to use. Sliced layers through the crown, not blunt ones. Sliced layers break up the density of the hair at the top, which allows it to lift and move naturally rather than sitting flat. The sides and nape on a well-cut textured pixie are tapered clean and close, which exposes the length and elegance of your neck. A feature most women over 50 are actually hiding unnecessarily. Your neck is an asset. A tapered pixie frames it beautifully. The contrast between the clean taper at the sides and the lifted texture at the crown is what creates the illusion of a longer, more refined face shape. This is the one that made a close friend stop mid-conversation and ask what had changed, because the lift at the crown read immediately as younger, sharper, more intentional. Swap a flat short cut with no graduation for a textured pixie with sliced crown layers and a tapered nape. If your pixie has been feeling heavy and droopy at the top, ask specifically for crown graduation and slice texture, not thinning shears which damage fine hair. Slice layers. Maintenance tip. A textured pixie needs a trim every 5 to 6 weeks to maintain the graduation. Growing it out past that point collapses the lift and loses the whole effect. Crown lift changes your silhouette from the outside in. And part 3 is going to reveal the cut that does the same for women with fine hair, who thought volume was simply gone for good. 3. The volume-building shaggy lob. Fine hair. Thinning mid-lengths. That slow, quiet loss of density that makes your hair look smaller than you feel. If that sounds familiar, this part was written specifically for you. Most women with fine hair over 50 are told to go shorter, and then shorter again, until the cut is barely there, and the volume problem is still there. That logic is backwards. The shaggy lob, a longer bob sitting just at or below the collarbone with significant internal texture, is the answer for fine hair over 50 that most stylists are not prescribing. Here is the key insight. Fine hair needs movement to read as full. And movement comes from layering, not from length removal. A blunt lob or a blunt long bob with no layers makes fine hair look limp, because every strand falls in the same direction at the same weight. But a shaggy lob cuts internal texture through the whole length, face framing pieces, mid-length layers, and lightly point-cut ends, so that no two sections of hair fall in exactly the same way. That variation creates the visual impression of volume and density, even when the individual strands are fine. Yes, that's simple. The face framing pieces are the specific detail that makes a shaggy lob look intentional rather than just layered. Ask your stylist for face framing layers that start at cheekbone height and angle forward. These pieces pull the eye upward and toward your cheekbones, which is exactly the visual lift fine hair needs. Pair that with a light dusting of dry texture spray applied only at the mid-lengths and roots, never the ends, and your hair will hold movement throughout the day. Honestly, the face framing layer is the one thing I tell every woman with fine hair to ask for first, before anything else. If you are currently wearing your fine hair in a blunt cut because someone told you layers would make it look thinner, swap it for a shaggy lob with internal texture and face framing pieces. If your current lob feels flat by noon, ask your stylist about point cutting rather than razor cutting, which removes too much weight from fine strands. Maintenance tip. Fine layered hair benefits most from a protein-based conditioner used once a week, not daily, to maintain strand integrity without adding product weight that collapses volume. Volume and movement are back. And part 4 is going to show you the one longer cut that proves women over 50 do not have to give up length to look 10 years younger. For the long layered cut with curtain fringe, there is a version of yourself walking around with long, beautiful hair that frames your face, lifts your cheekbones, and makes you look effortlessly ageless. And nobody told you she was still possible. The idea that women over 50 must shorten their hair is one of the most damaging pieces of advice in the beauty industry. Length is not the enemy. The wrong length with no architecture is the enemy. The long layered cut with curtain fringe is built on two specific technical elements that work together. The first is long internal layers, not short choppy layers, but long sweeping layers that begin at the collarbone and progress through to the ends. These layers create movement and lift without removing the length. The second element, and this is the one that changes everything, is curtain fringe. Curtain fringe is a center-parted fringe that falls softly on either side of the face, feathered and open in the middle, not heavy across the forehead. On a mature face, curtain fringe does something remarkable. It breaks the vertical plane of the forehead and draws the eye immediately to the center of the face, the nose and eyes, rather than allowing it to travel down toward the jaw and neck. That redirection of attention is worth more than any anti-aging serum. The curtain fringe must be cut to eyebrow height or just below, not mid-forehead and not at the cheekbones. Too short and it reads as a heavy blunt fringe. Too long and it loses the framing effect. Eyebrow height is the sweet spot on a mature face because it shortens the perceived length of the forehead, while leaving the full brow visible. And the brow is one of the most expressive features of your face. The fringe should reveal it, not cover it. This is one of those cuts where I tell a woman, trust the process, because the moment your stylist adds that curtain fringe, The transformation is immediate and visible. Swap a long blunt cut with no fringe for a long layered cut with sweeping internal layers and curtain fringe cut to eyebrow height. If you have been wearing a center part with no fringe, adding curtain layers around the face without full fringe is also an option. Ask for face-framing curtain layers rather than a full fringe if commitment feels like too much. Maintenance tip. Curtain fringe grows quickly and loses its frame within 4 to 5 weeks. Ask your stylist to trim only the fringe at your 6-week visit to keep it at exactly the right height. Long hair can absolutely look ageless and intentional after 50. And part 5 is going to close this out with the cut that works for silver and gray hair specifically, making it look luminous instead of washed out. 5. The silver shag with face framing highlights. Silver hair. It is either the most radiant thing in the room or the most draining. And the difference has almost nothing to do with the color itself. It has everything to do with the cut and the way the texture is managed. If you have gone gray or silver, and feel like your hair suddenly aged you instead of elevating you, this part is the one you have been waiting for. Here is the key insight about silver hair that most stylists skip entirely. Gray and silver strands are structurally different from pigmented strands. They are coarser, more porous, and they reflect light differently. Without internal texture, silver hair reads as a single flat mass because every coarse strand catches the light at the same angle. That uniformity is what makes silver hair look heavy and draining rather than luminous. The silver shag solves this with multi-length interior layering that breaks up the light reflection, so silver strands catch warmth at varying angles throughout the cut. This is not just texture for volume, it is texture for luminosity. You needed to hear this. The second element is face framing highlights in warm tones, champagne, soft pearl, or warm ash blonde. Placed specifically in the sections of hair that fall around the face and forehead. Not full highlights, not balayage through the whole length. Just the front sections, strategically warmed. On a silver base, those warm tones add dimension and reflect warm light back onto the skin, which counteracts the cool flatness that makes some silver hair look draining against mature skin. Ask for a toner or a few face-framing hand-painted pieces in a warm pearl or champagne shade, not platinum, which pulls the skin colder. Honestly, when I see a woman with silver hair get this right, it is genuinely one of the most striking things in a room. Swap uniform silver hair with no texture for a silver shag with multi-length interior layers. Swap cool platinum toning for a warm pearl or champagne tone applied only at the face framing sections. The combination of the shag layering and the warm face framing tone is what creates that luminous, alive quality in silver hair. Maintenance tip. Silver hair is more porous and benefits enormously from a weekly deep conditioning mask, not a daily conditioner. Once a week, 20 minutes with a mask that contains keratin or argan oil. This is what keeps the outer layer of the silver strand smooth, which is what creates the shine. You just learned 5 haircuts: the soft layered bob, the crown lifting textured pixie, the volume building shaggy lob, the long layered cut with curtain fringe, and the silver shag with face framing highlights that most women spend years figuring out through trial and expensive error. You did not just watch a video. You changed how you will walk into your next salon appointment. And that is the kind of knowledge that shows up on your face every single morning. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these 5 cuts are you trying first, and which one surprised you most? Next time, we are diving into the 5 color mistakes that age silver and gray hair overnight, and the fixes that make it look salon fresh without the price tag. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I will see you in the next one.